If you're a leader, you need to be checking yourself and on the lookout for these 5 red flags, because if you don't, your teams and your businesses are going to suffer. Be sure to stick around for the end because the laws of YouTube dictate that I have to save my most important point for last and mention it at the beginning of my video. So starting off with point number 1, we have complacency and stagnation. Complacency is a very real threat for every leader and every team, and the longer you lead, the more at risk you are. You're probably going to find yourself extremely busy as a new leader, from implementing new policies and procedures to familiarizing yourself with your team's capabilities. Sometimes it just feels like the work doesn't end. After this phase, however, your days in the office are probably going to start being filled less with work and more with work. You're probably going to find yourself just running out the clock until it's time to go home and contemplate the crushing reality of your lost innocence and the inevitable heat death of the universe. A good rule of thumb is if you find yourself in the situation of having nothing to do as a leader, you're probably starting to stagnate. There's nothing wrong with taking a step back to breathe during your day, but if you find yourself for more than a quarter of your day just refreshing your emails or reading news articles, you should probably start looking at ways that you could be spending your time improving your team and their lives. So red flag number 2 is taking more than you give. Some of you made an immediate association with philanthropy or items when I said that. But being a taker doesn't necessarily always mean taking a physical thing or money, whatever. Take a second and evaluate yourself. Do you receive more praise than you give? Do you take credit for your team's success as their leader? Do you take people's attention without giving them as much or more of yours? If you said yes to any of those, you're falling into the trap of taking versus giving. Some leaders still feel like giving praise and credit to their teams takes away from their own image by raising somebody else up. Worse still, some leaders think that if they don't appear too important to pay attention to their team members, that they won't be viewed as successful. In reality, nothing could be further from the truth. Taking the time to praise your employees doesn't weaken your position by elevating theirs. Rather, it strengthens both of your positions. A leader who gives praise builds loyalty with the person being praised and anybody who sees that praise happening. If you're presenting your team's successful project to your boss, be sure to give your team the credit for that success. Your job as a leader isn't to get the project done, but rather it's to guide the people that you've been entrusted with and make sure they have the things that they need to do their jobs. If you give your team the credit, people will see that you're an effective and trustworthy leader, and they'll be more likely to give you more responsibility moving forward. So red flag number 3 is taking it easy. Now look, you might be thinking, hey wait, this guy sounds like he's about to talk about complacency again, just a little bit differently. Is he trying to stretch this video out? Not quite. By taking it easy, I mean you're keeping up with work and staying busy, but you're taking the easy way whenever you can. From overdelegation to band-aid fixes, the easy path is lurking everywhere. And more often than not, it is the correct path to take. I'm not about to tell you that you should always take the road less traveled because frankly in real life, there's probably a reason that it's less traveled. You as a leader have to be able to determine when the easy path is the correct path and when it's not. Sometimes you're gonna have to implement processes that make life harder. You're gonna have to have difficult conversations with your people, and you're gonna run into tasks that you can't or shouldn't delegate. And if you're not willing to weather the storm of these adverse circumstances, you're not gonna come out the other side as a better leader. So red flag number 4, I think we're on 4 now. Comfortable company. What I mean by that is if the enterprise that you're leading, the business that you're leading, doesn't feel the need to adapt and improve, it's probably due to a lack of vision or poor communication of that vision on your part. Now hold on just a minute, this is the 3rd time you've mentioned complacency or laziness. You're trying to get that ad revenue, aren't you? No, I actually don't even know what the ad revenue requirement is, but if you do, let me know in the comments. What I am trying to do, however, is hit every level of complacency that I can because it's such an endemic problem in businesses all across the world. Odds are your business isn't the sole provider of whatever good or service that you provide, and if it is, there's either not a market for it, or there's a competitor hot on your heels watching the way you do business and operate and trying to become better than you. I mean, look at Tesla. Not so long ago, they were the only major player in the electric vehicle market, and now every manufacturer and their dog is making an electronic vehicle or has one in the works. If Tesla had become complacent as a company, somebody like Ford would have had a much better chance of dethroning them as the EV king. And even if you're not the leader in your particular field, that means you have at least one competitor that you have to beat out eventually, and there's probably more than one company gunning for that slot besides you. So you really can't afford to get comfortable and stop innovating. If you're not thinking about how to improve your product or your service, then you're probably not listening to customer feedback, because somebody can find something to complain about anything. If you are thinking about how to improve but your team isn't on board, you're probably having an issue communicating your vision to them. Alright, so you remember at the beginning of the video when I said that the most important point was coming last? This is it. So number 5, big 5, failure focusing. I've got news for you. You're a failure. Everybody you know is a failure. Your entire bloodline? Failures. See, what separates people isn't that some don't fail, it's that some don't learn. When you fail as a leader or a company or a team, whatever, the worst thing you can do is look at it as a failure and not as a lesson. I'm going to link a video from former Navy SEAL Commander Jocko Willink down in the description. The video is about his outlook on failure and hardship. And if you click off in the last 30 seconds of my video, I'm not even going to be that mad at you. Just leave a like and a subscription if I provided you some value. Deal? The gist of the video is that no matter how badly you fail or how bad your situation is, there's always a lesson to learn from it. There's always a positive that you can take away. Failure is good as long as you think about it properly. I believe in this message so much that I have it tattooed on my body. See? And I've applied it in every aspect of my life for years. If you can shift your focus from the failure to the lesson, then you can take all the red flags that I've mentioned in this video and turn them on their head. And if you can't, you'll be stuck in mediocrity and depression for the entirety of your life, but no pressure. So, in summary, here are the 5 leadership red flags that you need to be on the lookout for. Complacency and stagnation, taking more than you give, taking it easy, becoming too comfortable, and focusing on failure. So if you stuck around this far in the video without clicking off to that Jocko video, which you need to do as soon as you're done, then I appreciate you, and I look forward to seeing you next time, because surely you've subscribed by now for more no bull leadership.